It was only a week ago on Wednesday when ISRO successfully landed the Chandrayaan 3's Vikram lander on the south pole of the moon, thus scripting history by becoming the first nation to achieve this feat. Now, after the successful landing of its highly anticipated Chandrayaan 3, ISRO is gearing up for one more ambitious project. The sky is not the limit. The moon is also not the limit, and for sure now, the sun will not be either. Let us break it down for you. Aditya L1, India's first space-based solar mission, is all set to be launched on September 2, 2023 at 11:50 am at the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota in Andhra Pradesh. Aditya L1 derives its name from the word Aditya, which means sun in Sanskrit. The spacecraft rocket has been named PSLV C57. Being the nation's first solar mission, it finally puts an end to the time-long endeavor of India for solar observations. It is the first time that India is coming up with a space observatory, a spacecraft with the name Aditya L1 that will observe the sun from as close as possible. It won't be wrong if we call it the space telescope. So where is Aditya L1 heading? ISRO has stated that Aditya L1 spacecraft will cover a distance of about 1.5 million kilometers from the Earth and will be placed in the hollow orbit of Lagrange point, or we say L point, where it could easily observe the sun without any obstructions. What makes the solar mission unique is the payload weighing over 400 kg, which is in the orbit at L point. It has been estimated that Aditya L1 will take almost 4 months to reach the Lagrange point, but it is the payload that will make the most of it once it reaches orbit. The instruments on Aditya L1 will provide further detailed insights into coronal heating, solar flares, space weather dynamics, and much more. So let me just tell the viewers that Lagrange point is nothing but a point where the gravitational attraction and repulsion are so balanced that the object placed in between them stays in its relative position. Thus, the telescope will stay in line with the Earth while protecting itself from the heat of the sun. As there are 5 Lagrange points between the Sun and Earth system, Aditya L1 will be placed in the first. So why Sun is so dear to ISRO? Remember the time when we were kids and used to study the solar system? All those planets, including our planet Earth, rotating in their respective orbits, revolving around one gaseous sphere called the Sun. Right, the parent Sun, the leader upon whom our world exists and our evolution depends. So now just imagine the scenario when solar weather takes the backseat. It will only affect the ecosystem of the entire world. With just a slight variation in the weather, the orbit changes and boom, the blackouts and disturbances all over the Earth. Or just imagine your GPS going all over the place. It is where Aditya L1 comes into the picture, acting as an early warning system. It's the one that can track Earth-directed storms and predict their impacts. So what can be the objective behind Aditya L1? Aditya L1 is driven by 2 crucial purposes. The first is the short-term one of satellite protection. It's not that Aditya L1 came to life only yesterday. The project's genesis dates back to 2006. Back then, when it was first discussed to safeguard satellites from solar storms and harmful gases, where major satellites were settling for smaller satellites in low Earth orbit. It was the then chairman of ISRO, Professor U.R. Rao, who called for expanding the mission to the Lagrange point. The second is the long-term goal of the scientific quest, that is to understand, observe, and counterbalance the sun's UV rays effects on the Earth's climate and the ozone layer in the atmosphere. UV radiation's wavelength between 200 and 310 nanometers is well observed by the oxygen and ozone in the Earth's atmosphere. But reaching above 310 becomes alarming. Therefore, it becomes pivotal to study the behavior of the sun with respect to Earth's climate. Thus, people can expect a deeper understanding of solar wind acceleration, distribution of the dynamics of the solar atmosphere, and much more. So, is it in line with PM vision and surpassing the rivals? With this feat, ISRO also fulfills the vision of PM Modi, which he presented at COP26, publicly sloganizing one sun, one world, one grid. Let us tell the viewers, when it comes to the race to the sun, India's Aditya L1 is only fourth to NASA's Parker Solar Probe, ESA's Solar Probe, and China's Kuafu 1. to achieve a significant feat by leaving behind Russia's Roscosmos, the UK's space agency, and Canada's CSA. However, Japan's JAXA, Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, finds a worthy mention here. It's one of those rare space agencies that goes hands on hand with India in space science collaboration. The strong reason why Aditya L1 findings will be shared between ISRO and JAXA and will mark a new era of international collaboration in space science. So what's the debate of ISRO's Aditya L1 versus NASA's Solar Parker? By the way, in case anyone has any misconceptions so far, India's Aditya L1 mission is going to the sun? No, it's not. Some have started comparing the Aditya L1 with NASA's Solar Parker on Twitter, showcasing the shortcomings of the latter. However, both missions share the same view to study the corona of the sun. Though NASA's Parker probe has advanced payloads with a giant payload of 685 kg, Aditya L1 makes it happen with only 400 kg and deep observations. And one fun fact to be added here: when NASA invested a whopping $1.5 billion, ISRO made it happen with just $40 million. Isn't it something to be proud of? So what's the way ahead for the inspired ISRO? Well, ISRO has the capability to travel to the Moon, Mars and Venus. All it needs is to increase confidence and investment. This was actually the statement of ISRO chief S. Somnath. As an Indian, look around and see the achievements of ISRO, and you'll find that India is all set to become one of the top nations that are up for making their presence felt on Mars, the Moon, and now the Sun. The upcoming launch of Aditya L1 showcases the space prowess of the nation of 1.5 billion people and further drives ISRO to enhance its scientific quest to explore space in its deepest sense. Keep watching the pamphlet.